came to the wonderful city of Istanbul not only for the amazing coffee and sweets, but also to find out more about the saz. Musician and musicologist Ulaş Özdemir was kind enough to talk to me about this iconic Turkish instrument.
Elif Allah dost eyleyen, eyli de güzel yar güzel yar. Aşıkları da mest eyleyen, huy da güzel yar güzel yar güzel. Aşıkları da mest eyleyen, huy da güzel yar güzel yar güzel.
Ulaş, thank you so much for having me here.
Welcome.
And straight off the bat, I can see we have quite a lot of instruments. So let's get right into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard these instruments called saz and also bağlama.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we talk about the difference between those words and how you refer to the instruments?
Well, I mean, if you are in Turkey, if you say saz, everybody will understand that you are talking about these instruments. But originally, saz means in Persian, it's like instrument. I mean, general term for instrument.
Right.
But when you say bağlama, it is all these instruments. I mean, the family of all these instruments. Bağlama is a general term for long neck lutes in Turkey. So it's a general term, but it's also a term for a tuning.
Right.
It's not just the instrument. There's instrument for general family name, but it's also a tuning for a special position in bağlama.
Could we have a listen to that, or
Yeah. For example, this is older generation bağlama from my region, Maraş. In this instrument, I have tuning. It is like la or a, and re or d, and mi.
Okay.
Or E. So it is like the position. So tonic is like me. When I play this tonic, so it's like you hear this me. So I use all three strings. And in new generation, for example, bağlama, like longer neck, you also hear the same tuning. And when I play it, I mean the tuning is same.
Right.
But there are some more frets.
Okay. Yes.
So I can play like Western. I mean the chromatic scale.
I see.
But I have also these quarter tones on these instruments, and the body and the neck, all the making equipments are more, of course, maybe standardized in these instruments. The tuning and the main idea is same, bağlama tuning.
Right. And I noticed that there's also an octave. There's a lower string on the one closest to you. There's a lower.
Yeah. Actually, in newer generation saz we have more bass strings. We have bass string on the first line, but in this saz I don't use because sometimes I use this saz with my hand and sometimes with plectrum. So that's why I wanted to make it without in the first without bass, and then in the second we don't generally use in bağlama tuning, but some people, musicians, they use. And on top I put bass. So when I play with hand, in older generation there wasn't bass, but I wanted to hear this bass, especially the drone as tonic. And when I play with plectrum and hand, I wanted to hear that bass sound. But in my old generation saz, we don't have this bass string. It's mostly 2-1-2 or 1-1-1. It depends on the region, on the musician. But at the end, the tuning feeling is like without bass. So here I don't have like chromatic scale.
Uh-huh.
For example, here I have less frets.
All right.
So
Yes.
it was more older generation style. Also in the small one we have less frets. But in the new generation saz, this is also the smaller one of
yes.
that. It has more frets. For example, this is jura size. When we call jura, it means the smallest member of the family. It is like totally the same, the tuning, the frets, everything, but just the size is small. It's like also the tuning is like same. But here I put 2 1 1. You can put also 2 2 2 or 2 1 2. It depends on you. But at the end, I mean, it is 3 lines. Okay.
Always 3. Yeah.
The important thing is like the 3. But you can put 2 pairs, 3 pairs. I mean, it depends on your feeling, your playing style. Or in some regions, for example, in my region, we play it like 2 1 2. It's like 5.
Right.
But at the end it's 3 lines.
3 lines,
So
yeah.
In bağlama.
Yeah.
But the older generation it's like 2 lines.
I see.
Like dotar.
Okay, dotar, yeah.
Do means in Farsi, Persian it's like 2, and tar means string.
Yeah.
So it's like dotar, 2 string. In all over Central Asia, Middle East.
I know even in Bangladesh they have dotara as well. Yes.
In a lot of regions, cultures, they have dotars like Afghan, Uzbek, Khorasan.
Yes. Yeah. Right across.
Even tambur, ehlak, yaresan tambur in Iran, it's like dutar, and ruzba, it's also like dutar.
Right. The other thing that catches my eye straight away is that the frets, they're actually movable frets.
Yeah.
Right. Why don't we talk about that? Because the tuning is very important for Turkish music compared to, say, with the Western guitar, everything is fixed. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, actually, this is another debate on Turkish, especially folk music.
Right.
When we are talking about, Ottoman music or makam or Turkish music, when on the makam style, this is a little bit different than the folk music. But the standardization of folk music is not totally same like the makam in Ottoman music. So there are some same frets, but some of them we don't have on the folk instruments. And this instrument is standardized Turkish folk music. I mean, like this newer generation. So, for example, in the notation we say it here la. I mean, tuning is not la, but just for the symbol.
Right.
It's la.
Yeah.
In Turkish music, when we write la, there is si bemol, and there is this quarter tone, and then there is this natural, C natural. So, and then do. So, in between two notes, there are more quarter tones in the Ottoman music they use.
Right.
But here we use just one quarter note. But in older generation, for example here, in my saz, and there is this la, there is this si bemol, and this quarter tone you hear, but I don't have natural.
I see. Okay. Yes.
It's a flat. So there is do. But in, for example, Aşık Veysel saz, we know that this quarter tone was nearly like the flat. So the feeling is not totally like the today's standardized bağlama. So this is, in one way it's good. I mean, you can play this instrument with guitar, with piano, with Western instruments, and it's nice. But the feeling and the previous feeling was totally different. And for also ornaments, for example, if I make ornament with this, you hear this one. But when I play it from there, it's different.
Up to the natural.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there are more frets, and when you touch the frets, you have another harmonic
Yes.
than this one.
So this one, the nature of the ornaments is
Different.
Yeah.
The problem is we are always looking for a standardized background, but in traditional playing or in the past, there were different playing styles. Of course, maybe there were some standardized styles, instruments, and some maybe frets.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the masters has different styles, and they use different frets and different feelings especially on quarter tones. So when we are looking to back or the past, we are always trying to find a standardized, saz, standardized frets, standardized. But it always had development.
Yes.
And there was as culture, always it was changing. But the problem is it has relationship with playing. I mean, it is not just the position, or it is not just the tuning. It has also relation with the playing, and with its social cultural context.
Right.
So it's a big.
Yes.
Word.
Many factors.
Yes, a lot of factors,
geography.
dynamics.
Yes.
A lot of dynamics. So if we just talk about the frets, it's not easy to understand. And if we just talk about the standardized today's bağlama, it's not easy to understand. So, if I will talk about this saz, I need to talk about the right hand playing, left hand playing, tuning, the shape, frets, and it is social, cultural context, religious context.
Right.
So then I can understand, and I can say something. And also there is these masters, also their unique personal style, like Aşık Veysel, like different other performers. Each one has their own style.
So it's not only the cultural but also the very personal.
Totally.
Su gibi çağlay bakma, sevgili canana bakma. Aşığın gönlünü de yıkma, gönlü de güzel, yar güzel, yar güzel. Aşığın gönlünü de yıkma, gönlü de güzel, yar güzel, yar güzel.
As we were talking, Ulaş mentioned a problem with performing in the saz or bağlama today was that it was missing the essence of earlier performing styles.
The problem of today's bağlama was especially the nation state period, when the collectors were collecting music, and then they were trying to perform it on radio. So they were always trying to fix it in one way, to play all different regions' music in one style.
I see.
Especially in radio. So that's
like
why
a bottleneck.
that's why they cut all the ornaments of the different regions. So then you are making one unique style of saz or singing or playing style, but where is the ornament? Where is the essence of each culture's regions or each master's playing style? Of course, it's missing.
Yes, yeah. And so, can I ask, how do you approach this tradition? It seems like quite a big, you have many choices to make, yourself as a performer, and if you write music or you're working with ensembles, what choices do you make with playing this instrument?
Well, actually, I was born in Maraş. Maraş is a town end of the Mediterranean region and beginning of the southeast region of Turkey.
Right.
So it's in the middle. And we have also, like Sivas, very strong ashik and performers of folk music. And I was born in an Alevi family. You born in Alevi family, you directly jump inside of the music with bağlama.
Right.
Because in nearly each Alevi houses you have saz everywhere.
Right. Yeah. So it's very much tied to the
houses. Yes. And actually, when my father was architecture, and he was really interesting with his music of his region, and he was collector, like amateur collector, and I began to collect with him when I was in my high school, and in that time I was trying to play that standardized new style bağlama. But when I began to collect music with my father, record, and to see some masters, old masters, then I understand that in my region these masters are playing this saz. This is from my region, and these old small ruzbas. And then I realized that nobody is interested in popular music, bağlama playing style. Nobody is interested with this saz. But in my region, all masters are just playing this saz.
Interesting.
And this 3-string and that 2-string, and they play it together.
Right. And have you seen it change? I mean, since you were a kid, is the modern saz taking over, or how is it?
Yeah, it was very interesting. For example, the masters of the modern bağlama, like Arif Sağ, Yavuz Tob, and others, they were collecting from my region, and they were adapting this music to their new bağlama, but they were not interested with this old saz. This was very interesting for me, and I was. It was not easy for me to understand why they do it, why they don't play it with this old style saz and old style techniques. They try to make it more standardized.
And what was the reason in the end?
Because the general narrative for Turkish national state building period and especially the Alevi music revival period, the narrative was same. They were trying to make universal music.
Right, yes.
Universal Turkish music. So if you want to make a universal Turkish music, then you have to make it with standardized bağlama.
Yes, right.
And then there isn't any place for Aşık Veysel or
subtlety of
musicians from my region. They don't have any place in that standardized and universal music style because they are local.
It's interesting. I know. I think of somewhere like Scotland, Ireland. They still have this very specific geography, but the way that music works, it seems that you can play ornaments on a standard fiddle or a standard mandolin and go, oh, that's Donegal, or that's from wherever. But it seems like here, actually, the instruments themselves are different, so it makes it a lot harder to get the sound of a particular region.
Yeah.
So now it seems logical that you have so many instruments because you can get that you can choose your tool to.
Yeah, actually, it was in their natural way because I just took it from my grandfather.
Yes.
My relatives. So it was. I was when I was born. They were in the. On the wall of our houses, my grandfather's, my uncle's house. So I was used to see them, but I didn't know how to play because the masters were dying in that period. Today there are not a lot of masters actually especially in my region. Not in my region. I mean in general over the Anatolia there are not a lot of masters of playing who are playing these instruments. And then I collected all this music from my region and I began to record with these masters. I learned some techniques from them. And when I came to Istanbul to study music, especially to study economics in university, and after 3 years I quit.
That's enough.
And I wanted to go conservatory, but I was not interested with the standardized bağlama. I was more interested with cultural side, more musicologic, ethnomusicologic side. So I studied ethnomusicology. Then it was easier for me to put it in context.
Yes.
All these cultural, social, religious, background and music in a context, in a culture. So it was it opened, I mean, more my mind. I mean, and then I understand this is not also only the problem of Turkey, because you see these kind of things in many nation states, you know, development.
Yes,
and
yeah.
there are a lot of revivals in all over the world, and these kind of things are happening in Central Asia, in Latin America, Brazil, many places. So, and in that period, I was also making music. And 20 years ago, in 1998, I recorded my first album. It was about my region, Maraş, and it was about the repertoire of these masters, especially Alevi musicians, dedes, holy people who are playing also music, with these two saz. So it was, I mean, there were some recordings, very few recordings, but first time a music from a region, collected from a region, playing with these two saz, and a young generation, 19 years old, young generation singers trying to make this old style traditional music from a region.
Right.
It was not very popular in that period. But after 20 years, especially after 15 years, many new generation musicians try to go back. But this is not conservative or old, style thing. It's just trying to ask questions for the new standardized bağlama and try to understand what happened to previous one, what happened to Aşık Veysel's son, why, for example, me playing these instruments. You know, I mean, so why this master is playing this? Why they collected this song from this region? Then. Many young generation musicians begin to play these instruments, and today it's really popular.
Many of these instruments had frets which could be moved to play different scales and intonation. So I asked Ulaş about how he approached these tunings.
Of course, you can change the frets, but you don't need to do that. I mean, we don't change frets to play different music.
Okay. So the way it's tuned, would you call it a makam or no?
No. It's just tuning. If I tune it, it's a tuning, like
Okay.
düzen. Bağlama is the instrument, and bağlama düzeni is the bağlama tuning.
Okay.
So I have this tuning, but the tonic is in this saz. For example, the tonic is mi, like E. But if you are singing from tonic like fa or F or G or sol, then you have to change the tuning, not the frets. So if I want to change, I mean, if I want to make it in another tuning, so I have to change the tuning, not the frets. Because, for example, if I play from mi, but if I want to play from sol, I don't have frets. I cannot make a transpose.
I see, yes.
Transposition, okay? So if if I will use tonic as sol, then I have to change the tuning. For example, the good thing for today's bağlama, for example, so this is from mi, so this is from sol, for example, C, so I have more options, but the problem is when you make bağlama tuning, it has a special playing style because using 3 strings. So if you make transpose, you couldn't take the same feeling.
Right.
So that's why if you play from one tuning, so if you keep that, that gives more feeling of that bağlama tuning style.
Derdi hakla aşka düşen aşıklar derdine gayrıdan derman arar mı? Dost için can veren bağrı yanıklar, bayram geldi diye kurban arar mı? Dost için can veren bağrı yanıklar, bayram geldi diye kurban arar mı? Eğer dost elinden içersen bade, ayık ol sırrını söyleme yade dost. Beyhudeye öğüt veren beyhude, kamil olan kendin boşa yorar mı? Beyhudeye öğüt veren beyhude, kamil olan kendin boşa yorar mı? Sakiler elinden dolu içilir, aşıklar dilinden gevher saçılır. Gülşen bahçasının gülü açılır, asıl has bahçanın gülü solar mı? Coşkun sular gibi akıp çağlayan, sinesini aşk oduna dağlayan, gece gündüz boşuna ağlayan, evvel ağlayanlar sonra güler mi? Gece gündüz boşuna ağlayan, evvel ağlayanlar sonra güler mi? Mücrimiyem aldı beni bir firak, görünür mü yerden göğe bir direk dost? Herkesin övdüğü özünde gerek, görün kırık başa akıl girer mi? Herkesin övdüğü özünde gerek, görün kırık başa akıl girer mi?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Find us on Facebook and Instagram, or click on the links to explore more Stringdom interviews.